And welcome to this edition of the Native News Update on this Monday, August 29th. I'm your host for today's program, Paul DeMain. Many of the stories right here can also be found at our website at IndianCountryNews.com, and here are some of the latest stories from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. People of the Big Voice, photographs of Ho-Chunk families by Charles Van Schaik, 1879 through 1942, tells the visual history of the Ho-Chunk families at the turn of the 20th century and beyond, as depicted through the lens of Black River Falls studio photographer Charles Van Schaik. The family relationships among those who sat for the photographer are clearly visible in the images. Sisters, friends, families, and young couples appear and reappear, fleshing out a narrative of the period from 1879 to 1842, referred to as the Dark Ages in tribal history. Following introductory essays from three of the authors, there are more than 300 beautifully detailed duotone photographs. Unique to the project are captions that identify over 90% of the individuals pictured, made possible by continuing efforts of tribal members and genealogists. Three of those authors, Tom Jones, Amy Lonetree, and George A. Greendeer, are enrolled members of the Ho-Chunk Nation. And for more information, you can go to wisconsinhistory.org. The former chairman of an American Indian tribe in Idaho and Nevada has been indicted on felony charges for stealing federal money. Kyle Pryor is accused of using a Wells Fargo bank debit card issued to the federally funded Upper Snake River Tribes Foundation to make personal purchases when he was the foundation's executive director from September 2008 to July 2009. He is the former chairman of the Shoshone-Paiute tribes in southern Idaho and northern Nevada. Pryor illegally bought property worth more than $5,000 according to documents filed in federal court. If he is convicted, he faces a maximum of 10 years in federal prison and a $250,000 fine. A Century of Ishi, a one-day conference celebrating 100 years of Ishi, has been organized by the University of California, Berkeley's Phoebe A. Hearst Museum of Anthropology and the California Indian Museum and Cultural Center. The event is being held on Wednesday, September 7th at the UC Berkeley's Clark Cares campus in the Crutch Theater at 2601 Warren Avenue. Ishi is believed to have been the last surviving member of his Yahi tribe when he was encountered in the Sierra foothills near Oroville by UC Berkeley anthropologist Alfred Kroeber in 1911. Kroeber brought Ishi with him to the now Hearst Museum, where Ishi shared his language and culture with others until he passed away in 1916. After a traditional Native American blessing, UC Berkeley Chancellor Robert Bergenien will deliver opening remarks, followed by a keynote address by Karen Beastman, lecturer in ethnic studies at UC Berkeley, who specializes in federal Indian law and who is co-chair of UC Berkeley's Joseph A. Myers Center for Research on Native American Issues. A roundtable discussion will follow. To see if space is still available, you want to check the conference URL that's up here at kanta.cc, and you'll be able to see that URL. Assistant Secretary for Aging Kathy Greenlee today announced two grants totaling $760,000 for the National Center on Elder Abuse, including first-time funding specifically dedicated to elder abuse prevention in Indian Country. One of those awards will be a $200,000 grant to the University of North Dakota. The NCAA Native American Elder Justice Initiatives will begin to address the lack of culturally appropriate information and community education materials on elder abuse, neglect, and exploitation in Indian Country. Some of the undertakings of the initiative will include establishing a resource center on elder abuse to assist tribes in addressing elder abuse, neglect, and exploitation, identifying and making available existing literature, resources, and tribal codes that address elder abuse, and developing and disseminating culturally appropriate and responsive resources for use by tribes, care providers, law enforcement, and other stakeholders in the issue. Children on the Cheyenne River Reservation started the new school year this past week, and thanks to the Cheyenne River Youth Project in Eagle Butte, hundreds of them have backpacks overflowing with essential school supplies. According to Tamara LaPlante, CRYP's office manager, 386 children attended the Youth Project's annual school supplies drive distribution at the Kahota-Wakonee Teen Center this month, and roughly 75 more who couldn't attend received their backpacks later in the month. Supplies included backpacks for grades 1 through 12, protractors, compasses, calculators, mechanical pencils, writing tablets, fat pencils, fat crayons, all that stuff. You parents out there know what we're talking about. CYRP's annual school supplies drive is a key part of its family services program created in the year 2002 to manage the increasing amounts of donated supplies that the Youth Project provides to local families year-round. To participate in that program, all local families need to do is pay a $30 annual membership, which covers the whole family for the entire year. To learn more about that, you can call 605-964-8200, and that phone number is on the board now. As a recipient of a 2011 NEA National Heritage Fellowship Award, a prestigious honor in folk and traditional arts, Mardi Gras Indian Chief Bo Dollis will be the center of attention in Washington, D.C. during September. Dollis will be honored at a Capitol Hill Award ceremony on September 21st and participate in the National Heritage Fellowships concert at the Music Center at Strathmore in Bethesda, Maryland on September 23rd. At the concert, Dollis will perform with other members of the Wild Magnolia Troupe of Mardi Gras Indians. This concert will be webcast live at 7 p.m. Central Time at arts.gov, the website of the National Endowment for the Arts, and we're just hoping that they get some real Indians on that live cast once in a while as well, too. Residents of the Cheyenne River Indian Reservation celebrated the dedication of a new hospital last Friday. KELO television reports that more than $80 million of stimulus money went into the project. The building holds tribal and federal health services and is more than 3 times the size of the old one. The Indian Health Service had tagged the old facility as vastly undersized and understaffed. State Tribal Relations Secretary Leroy LaPlante Jr. says the opening is a promise that the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe's best days are still ahead. Indian Health Service Director Yvette Rubadu and Senator Tim Johnson also attended the ceremony. A Belcourt man accused of trying to sell painkillers stolen from an American Indian hospital has been sentenced. U.S. Attorney Timothy Purdon says 23-year-old John Allery also was sentenced on another unrelated drug charge. He was given 2 years and 1 month in federal prison in order to pay back about $6,000 in restitution. In June, former pharmacy worker Timothy Davis Jr. was sentenced to probation, community service, and restitution for stealing the painkillers from the Quentin N. Burdock Memorial Hospital in Belcourt. Authorities say nearly 50,000 hydrocodone pills were reported missing between May 2009 and June 2010. 2 others were accused of trying to profit from the pills. Davis's wife, Candace Keplin, was sentenced in May to probation and restitution. Jordan DeLong is scheduled to be sentenced today. And that is the latest roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. Miigwech for joining with us, and come back again soon.